Now what's this gonna be? You know how I played it all. That nigga burn it deep. All by his bread. Bitch, I'm all up by my bread. All by my bread. Bitch, I'm all up by my bread. All by my bread. Now what's this gonna be? You know how I played it all. That nigga burn it deep. All by his bread. Now bitch, I'm all up by my bread. All by my bread. Now bitch, I'm all up by my bread. All by my bread. Now bitch, I'm first street ballin', trying to get my bread long. You know the game gone and my mind been blown. Different decisions that I done made got me fucked up now. Still gon' thug the life I'm living, still gon' hold this shit down. Every day of my life, yeah, nigga chasing G's, and I'm saying niggas should be around there, won't see you off your feet. My mama been doing bad, but I ain't going into that. I done picked that girl up when I caught my first package. I be damn, me and my people hurting for something for a day. That shit happened, the next man ain't getting nothing. Faded the root of evil, and that's my damn best friend. I put that on my life, ain't nobody gon' fuck with him. You try to jam it, yeah, that ass getting chopped. Trying to serve, ain't got no business on my block, I bet you're getting chopped. Now either way you try to fuck with my balls, don't believe that ass getting chopped. Now what's this gonna be? You know how I played it all. That nigga burn it deep. All by his bread. Bitch, I'm all up by my bread. All by my bread. Bitch, I'm all up by my bread. All by my bread. Now what's this gonna be? You know how I played it all. That nigga burn it deep. All by his bread. Now bitch, I'm all up by my bread. All by my bread. Now bitch, I'm all up by my bread. All by my bread. Now bitch, I'm back in the mix. Them flaky niggas better stand down. Came home, got me some yam, I'm the man now. Niggas, some bitches all from my face, I ain't know who it is. Everybody up from my mix like I'm a hero and shit. Fall back, I'll buy a brick. Right now I'm on a mission, I'm giving you 2 for 20. Got grams going for 50. Putting that in my pockets, the nigga you bullshitting. What the fuck you ain't listen? I done told you I got to get. Nobody depending on me, so it's all mine. I ain't stressing out by myself, that's how it going down. My mama fighting her little dicks and she gon' be alright. For I have a tweaking and begging, I put something up on the pipe. It's a low fraction of my life, still all in for a lick. Lurking for fatty, looking for niggas to tone mix. Start to lurking if I'm hurting, different side come out. That flip shit, start to check on Mr. High come out. Gonna be, you know how I played it all. That nigga burn it deep.
Welcome back to your favorite channel, Pelican Bay Dog TV and news for the day. Giving it to my brothers and my sisters the way I always do. Fair and unbiased, raw and uncut. Some brothers gonna like it, some sisters ain't. You know, big salute to all them pet lovers across the world. Everybody doing what they gotta do with these dogs, with these hounds, with these American Pit Bull Terriers. Today we talking a little bit about them Jeep dogs, them Jeep Red Boy dogs. You know, my question to start this conversation off is, who is the true representative of the Jeep Red Boy cross? You know, is it Tramp Ramrod's? Ramrod's Tramp, rather. Sorry about that. Is it RamRod's Tramp? Or is it White's Tab? You know, we gonna kind of dissect both of these dogs. Uh, I'm not sure if they're little mate brothers, but I want to say they're little mate brothers. Now, my question is, which dog do y'all think produced the best? You know, off this Red Boy Jeep cross, Jeep Red Boy cross. You know, if you had to put both dogs up to compete against each other, who is the number one representative of the Jeep Red Boy cross? Would it be Tramp or would it be White's Tab? You know, so what we're about to do, man, is we're just gonna check out these pedigrees. And just do a little pair talk. You know, now I will say this: And I didn't know this until I actually start doing a little research. White's Tab was bred more than Mayday, and he has more offspring on online pedigree than Mayday. Now I didn't think it was a dog alive with more breeders and more offspring than Mayday. Mayday got 17 pages. White's Tab got 17 pages. You know, now which dog out of 17 pages, which dog do you think produced the best, White Tab or Mayday? Now the crazy part about that is Mayday was around during that era, you know, so all his breedings were made back in the days, right? Why wasn't he high on that rum list back in the days when Jeep was up there? Because it's clearly when you got dogs like White Tab, who bred as many times as he bred, it's clear why Jeep would be at the top of the rum list. And that's just one dog. You know, you got one dog that bred more than Mayday, and then you got several other great dogs out there that's producing as well. So that'll let you see why Jeep is on the top of the rum list. You know, a lot of the times it ain't how good he producing, it's just how many dogs he put out. You know, some of these dogs didn't breed 10% of the times Jeep and Mayday bred, but they bred uh several champions and grand champions in their offspring. And say like you got a dog who bred 20 times, and out of them 20 litters he made, say 15 of them was on fire, and he had 5 sorry ones scattered out throughout the 20. Just say 15 of them was good, but he only made 20 breedings, you know. Or let's just break it down a little more like this, rather. You know, we got a dog who made 10 10 breedings, and he produced 5 champions. S- Say he produced 7 champions out of 10 breedings. Okay. Now you got a dog who bred 100 times, and he produced 15 champions. The one that produced the 15, he's going to get looked at different, like he produced more, but they're not taking account of how many times he bred, how many times he had to shoot that free throw before he made it. Yeah, you made more free throw shots than me, but you took a whole lot more shots than I took. So you got to keep all that in mind. Now, talking about this dog right here, Garrett's Ramrod Tramp, a true Jeep Red Boy representative. You know, and in my opinion, I think the better dogs came off of this dog, instead of White's Tab, his brother. I feel like the better dogs came off Tramp, but I feel like Tramp wasn't bred as much, and we can go right here to his offspring. He's got 5 pages, give or take. It may be, everybody don't log in on online pedigree. So he got 5 pages compared to his brother's 17 pages. So that's why you will hear more about Tab when it comes to throughout the dog community. But to say Tab made that many breedings, his dogs are not scattered around as much as the Mayday dogs is. Now, I say that uh maybe more. I believe they made more in-house breedings with Tab than what Mayday made. Mr. Crenshaw, Mr. Garrett, and them fellas, they bred Jeep to more dogs on their yard than what Victor did with Mayday. Most of Mayday breedings were made out, to other kennels compared to Jeep or compared to White's Tab and them, you know. Um, so let me get back to this page right here. Now let me go to White's tabs. They got the same pedigree. Let me go back to RamRod's offspring. Let's just check some of his offspring out. Let's look at the Romeo dog. Great looking dog right there. Now we see the RamRod's Tramp on the top. Bred the Otters Sassy. Now Otter Sassy is what? RedBoy Jocko Buck dog. Coming down off of STP Buck daughter, bred the yellow. Now I bet you, boy, this dog here is sassy. Should be a hellified dog. Otter Sassy right here. She should be a hellified dog. STP Buck daughter, bred the Grand Champion yellow. Man, I ought to love seeing that dog there. You know, great looking dog. But that's the Romeo dog. Let's stroll on down. Let's check out D Spider. Now D Spider's coming off of the Ramrod on the top and Hicks Bullet on the bottom side with Gaines Fargo on the very bottom. Gaines Fargo daughter bred back to Fargo, and they took the daughter of that, bred it to Bullet, took the daughter of that, bred it back to RamRod's Tramp. Let's check Hunt's Tabby Girl too to see what they did with this breeding. Look like a typical White's tab dog, but it's coming down off Tramp Ramrod on the top, or RamRod's Tramp on the top, and Hunt's Ice on the bottom. Now Hunt's Ice, let's look at this pair. This is a very interesting pair. She's Jeep Tabby Girl through the Palms Ernie, and then Marlowe's Yellow Widow coming down off Jeep and Marlowe's Fanny. So they took a half brother and sister, both off of Jeep, one off Tabby Girl and one off Fanny, bred them to each other, and they got Hunt's Ice. So that Ice dog should be a pretty good dog as well. And then you got Tabby Girl too. Go to one more of his pages, then we'll go to White's tab. Let's go to the Sinbad dog. Great producing dog. I hear a lot of people speak high on this dog. Uh, so we got RamRod's Tramp on the top. Got Gaines Fargo in the second generation on the bottom. So let's check this. Let's go to the fourth generation. Check the very bottom of the fourth out. And let's see what that is. Cummins Rocky. Carver dogs, Boudreaux dogs, Bully Son, Davis Chivo, Eli in it, Ironhead, Paladin. So let's see what the bottom side is. Paladin, So they got that paladin dog on the bottom side. Seemed like they was focusing on that paladin stuff on this bottom side right here. Got the paladin again as well in the fourth generation. Turtlebuster stuff. That's what the Fargo dog is coming down off of. Gaines Turtlebuster. But take a look at this Turtlebuster dog right here. Brindle. Now let me ask. I want to speak about rap. I'm gonna speak about Rascal later on in the video. But I want to ask brothers: is this Turtlebuster blood still relevant in the dogs 2025? You know, and when I ask this, I'm like I always say, I'm not discrediting nobody's dogs, but I'm just asking a question. You know, is the Turtlebuster strain still relevant? You know, in the dogs today. You know, somebody drop down in the chat if you got an answer or if you got an opinion on that. If you're running that Turtlebuster stuff and you got, you're happy with the program that you're running, you know, drop down in the chat, man. Tell me a little bit about them Turtlebuster dogs. Are they still relevant today? When I say relevant, I mean if somebody come up to you and say, "I got a pure Turtlebuster dog," or heavy, heavy, heavy Turtlebuster dog, you know, is it something that you'll be looking to add to your program just off of uh PEDs alone? Because one thing we know about PEDs, a brother will take a dog with a good PED and he don't like the dog before he take a dog with a that he likes and he don't like the PED. I don't know why brothers do that. You don't like the dog, but you like the PED. Oh, I'll get him because I like how he bred. But the moment you come up to a dog you like, oh man, I like that dog right there, and he look good, and he don't got that PED you want, you gonna leave him right there. That's how backwards the dog game is. We feel like this online PED, we feel like that piece of paper we get is gonna benefit us in any type of show, any type of event we go to, or confirmation show we go to. Now I don't know, it may give you some wins when you go to that confirmation show. I don't know. You know, from what I hear, certain times, certain judges like certain bloodlines. It just depends on what judge you get during the whatever show you go to. You know, and when it come to them papers, man, back in the days when we got the papers to the dog, I had to really think about it. We wanted the papers to the dog. Once they start getting where they're giving the papers with them, not just write ups. We wanted the papers with the dog, but now that I think about it, all we did with the papers was use them like a bill of sale. Okay, you give me my dog, I got the papers, boom, got him, throw him in the drawer. You never looked at him again. You never worried about him. You know, it wasn't focused on the stuff they came off of, the fourth, the third. All you was worried about was the mama and daddy. You know, and you got this bill of sale with the dog. So that's how I could see, like I said, how the game has changed. Um, we just it's a different focus, and everybody claimed they got the answer to it. Everybody claimed they got the answer to what kind of dogs can make this or which dogs producing the good dogs. And like I always say, man, most of the time the folk that talking like that are the folk that feel like they can't take no more info in or they know every damn thing. Be the ones that don't got no dogs or the ones with them dog pound dogs, as I say. You know. So this Sinbad dog, let's look and see what he bred to and what his offspring is. Woody's Woody Spot. We got Woody Spot. Let's see if they got a pic of that. No pic. See what this stuff is coming down off of. Randy's Goner. Now that's got the cotton bullet stuff on the top. Crenshaw's Reno and Crenshaw's Diablo on the bottom side. Then this look like a pretty tall dog or a pretty big dog right here. You know, let's go back. And like I said, we in right now we in RamRod's these are his grandkids. Being that Sinbad comes down off RamRod, the RamRod Tramp dog. Let's go check out White's tab. Okay, the infamous White tab. Like I told y'all, brothers, so you can see it for yourself. Offspring, 17 pages. You know, and I'm not about to sit here and go to each one of them pages. We're just gonna check a few of his famous dogs out. Now look how this dog here is bred. Al's Brute. Al's Brute. Let's look how he's bred. Coming down off White's tab and White's Irene. White's Irene is a heavy, heavy Jeep bitch. Heavy honey bunch. You know, so you see how Al's Brute is bred. Looking at it on paper, brothers will say the offspring of this dog right here, you know, bred back to maybe Tab or RedBoy stuff, should be, you know, some great dogs. Now, I had a run in with two dogs off this dog here, Al's Brute. Had a run in with two dogs, and one of them looked like how he got that whitish in the face. One of them was a little shorter than what he is, with the white and the kind of whitish around the face, and the other one was just buckskin black mask. But it wasn't that much white in his face like that. But and then I guess that may come from old age too as well. Some of them dogs turn white in the face as they get older. But these dogs off a brute that I encountered, you know, were the sorriest dogs, some of the sorriest dogs you ever want to see or lay hands on. And I'm gonna say they came out and they did something. You know, they had a little action with them. But Sambo ran through two of these Al Brute dogs, two separate occasions. You know, so I was never, you know, that's why I always stayed away from the brute stuff. I had a bad taste in my mouth with that brute stuff. I just couldn't deal with it myself. You know, the white tab stuff I'm good with. I never had none of the Ramrod's Tramp dogs. You know, I wish I would have got some of them, but I had plenty of the white tab dogs, the white Irene dogs. Um, Not really the Tab Junior. Didn't have any of the Tab Junior stuff. Most of the stuff we had came directly off the tab. Um, and like I said, uh, the breeding that we made with Tab and the Garner's Champion Hickory dog made some good fire. A good matter of fact, she only had one puppy. You know, she only had one puppy, but that puppy was on fire, and it was probably about 30 some pounds. The daddy was about a 40-pound dog, and the mother was about good 40, 43, somewhere around that area, low 40s. Buckskin bitch looked just like Tab. She looked just like Tab. Them. You know, I always say Tab, them dogs off of Tab got that look in their face. Well, she had that look. So we took her and bred it back to the Hickory dog. And man, it was a little brindle bitch. It's a female. And she was fire. She was fire. Now, we didn't get to breed the Tab stuff with Bo like we wanted to. Um, I think that would have been good, but it would have been a lot of Jeep, and my question is Jeep, is the Jeep Red Boy cross one of the best crosses made since the Red Boy Jocko strain was created with yellow? Because that Jeep Red Boy cross is something that was unstoppable back in the days. Everything was stoppable, but you know what I mean. That Jeep Red Boy cross was just something serious. So, I mean, is it fair to say that's one of the best crosses made since uh Yellow John and Miss Jocko? And as you can see, these Jeep Red Boy crosses right here, they made their mark in the game. Tab as well as the Tramp Ramrod dog, RamRod's Tramp dog. Now, looking at pictures, just going off pictures and not actually seeing the dog, to me, this dog looked like he took after the Red Boy side of the family. And it probably took after the Jeep side with genetics and stuff, but it don't actually look like Jeep himself. It looked like it took more after the Red Boy side. Let me click on Tabby Girl, see if they had a picture up there. No pic. Red Boy. So that's why I say he took more after the Red Boy side. Now, if we say Tab is the representative or Tramp Ramrod, Ramrod's Tramp, most people say Tab because how many times he bred already, you know. But who is the representative of the Jeep Rascal dogs? You know, and is quick question: is Rascal even relevant in today's time? Not dissing nobody dogs, just a question I'm asking. Can I sell you a pure Rascal dog? You know, with no Rascal traits to it. Maybe it's a red nose. Um, maybe it's a color totally opposite of what Rascal was doing. Would you accept it? Can I give you a pure Rascal dog or a heavy bred Rascal dog, and you look at it the same way as a heavy bred Jeep, heavy bred Mayday, heavy bred Yellow, heavy bred Eli? Will you look at it the same way if I give you a Rascal dog in 2025? Now, I'm not talking about a dog with a little bit of Rascal in it. I'm talking about, did any breeders back in the days take the Rascal stuff and run it like how these brothers running their Red Boy stuff, or how they running their Red Boy Jocko, or how they running their Eli? Did anybody take the Rascal and do it like Mr. Boudreaux did his Eli stuff and base it strictly off of the Rascal Jr. dogs or the Rascal dog? Let me go back to Jeep. Go back to Jeep. Now let me go to his offspring. Go to Gene's log. Rascal Jr. Okay. Now let's go to Rascal Jr. Go to his offspring. He got 2 pages. Now, out of these 2 pages of breedings, I'm not about to click on all of them, but out of these 2 pages of breedings, were any of these breedings Rascal concentrated? Were they straight concentrated on focusing on Rascal? Cause we see they concentrated on Jeep. We see they concentrated on RedBoy. They concentrated on Yellow. They concentrated on Eli. Did they concentrate on Rascal? Is what I'm asking. You know, and if you know specific dogs that are almost completely Rascal, drop down in the chat and drop a few of them dogs' names in the chat. That way I can look them up. Mountain Man Homer, the infamous Mountain Man Homer, coming down off Rascal Jr. Bully Son and Eli stuff on the bottom. Now, has anybody focused the yard strictly off of Mountain Man's Homer dogs? Homer on the top, Homer on the bottom, Homer the granddaddy, Homer the uncle, has anybody ran a line bred and inbred yard strictly off Homer bred dogs? Maybe another stud, but with Homer being one of them. I'm just trying to find the relevancy of this rascal stuff in modern day times, or do a lot of these bloodlines trickle away like the Kobe dogs did? Kobe dogs, great dogs. Kobe is the founder, one of the founders. But at the end of the day, the relevancy of them dogs start diminishing in the 80s to the 90s. And then by the time the 90s came, you hear Kobe name here and there, but the dogs weren't on the same level as the dogs that were floating around during that time, you know. So what I'm saying, when Rascal first hit the scene and it was making them Jeep Rascal breedings, it was all good then. When Mountain Man Homer was on the scene, it was all good then. But as time went on and things happened, you know, for one, we always got to keep in mind and always got to say these confiscations of these dogs, these raids, these busts, all that stuff play a part in this question I'm asking right now. Because it could have been a yard that was Homer based yard or Rascal based yard, but they got confiscated. So nobody, heard about them or nobody's seen them. And a lot of them, may have got confiscated in the 90s instead of the 2000s, you know. So if they got confiscated in the 90s, and that's, before the internet and all that stuff, a lot of them dogs would have just went unknown. A lot of great breeders and crosses that was made. Phenomenal dogs we'll never hear about, never know about, that walked on this planet Earth. But just because of seizures, confiscations, you know, and them type of situations, the dogs disappear. You know, um, and like I always say, we gotta always keep in mind these dogs, they'll decay in the ground, they'll disappear, and there'll be an old story 10 to 20, 30 years down the line. But these papers, right now, I could talk to many of these dog brothers that's 60, 70 years old, and they can pull out papers that they had when they was a youngster. So if they still got their papers now since they was a youngster or since they was in their 20s or 30s, just imagine that paper gonna last forever until it deteriorate far as in the air. You know how long it take paper to just go bad in the air to where it disappears? You know, you leave a sheet of paper on a desk in a house and nothing happens to that house. It just stays there. Nobody's occupying the house. It's just there. Leave that paper on that desk. That paper will be there 100 years from now. You may can't pick it up. It may be so brittle when you pick it up, it just turn into dust or something. But it will still be there. You know, and that's why why I always say focus on what you got in your yard, man. You know, focus on the dogs you got in your yard, and we just look at these pedigrees like historical stories and all that type of stuff. You know, and I always go back to knowing what you got, knowing what you running, doing research on the dogs that you running, and the lines that you trying to be dealing with. That way, you know the authenticity of uh the stuff that you're running. You don't want me running that fake stuff. We think it's a joke when I say bootleg or fake this or fake that. So many paper pedal dogs, you ain't really getting the real shit that a lot of y'all brothers want out here. You know, oh, this dog don't got no papers, so he put papers on him. Or this dog don't got no papers, so he put papers on him. It's the paper say they Jeep this, the paper say they yellow this, but they not really yellow this. So you get different stuff. And it's not just one or two particular people. It done went down all across the country. So worry about what you got in your yard. You know what I'm saying? Worry about what you got that you could touch and how you can make that dog the better dog, the dog that they talk about years down the line. You know what I'm saying? Now, Garrett Tater is also uh uh Jeep Rascal dog. Let me see, can I pull that up real quick? Garrett Tater. He looks to be bred just like the last dog we checked out, Jeep Rascal. Now, sometimes, you know, sometimes a lot of these dogs carry the other dog. Was the rascal all that good from the start to add with this stuff? You know, did the Jeep carry the rascal over to make the rascal look better? You know how they say a good dog, man, can make a sorry dog, look good, and a great dog can make a sorry dog, man, look pretty decent? Same way, great bloodlines can make a sorry bloodline look good when you cross them together. Make, oh, these puppies right here, outstanding. You know, but you could take that same female dog or that same male dog and breed them with 10 more males or females, and you won't get the same kind of quality dogs that you got off of them. Now, I will say this, and I'll speak up for the rascal dogs, you know. Um, I think when I asked the question about the termite dogs on the other video, are the termite dogs relevant? I think the rascal stuff is more relevant in your dogs as far as still packing that punch than your termite stuff. I don't really trust them termite dogs right about now, and that's just my opinion because the simple fact of the matter, I didn't trust them back in the days. And like I said, the breeding didn't get better, the breeding got worse. The breeding got worse because so many people got the dogs, and everybody who got the dogs don't know how the hell they breeding these dogs. You know, so that's why I say the breeding got worse. But yeah, man, checking out them Jeep Rascal dogs. Let's go back to Jeep. Go back to his offspring. Now this the thing. White Tab bred more than his daddy, right? But he is not on the rum list close to his daddy. So that tells us that his daddy was the better producer. So even though the Jeep Red Boy cross was outstanding and it produced some great dogs, Tab still couldn't produce as much as his daddy, and he bred double the times that his daddy bred, over double times that his daddy bred, and he still couldn't produce, you know, the level of dogs that Jeep produced. Or, or was times changing and Tab couldn't make the rum list like how Jeep made the rum list because of the laws that was coming out during the time that Tab was, making his run. When Tab was making his run, the laws was a whole lot different compared to when Jeep was making his run. See, a lot of that stuff play a big, big, big part in it. A lot of these dogs that came from the late 90s into the early 2000s, laws and stuff was changing. Things was beginning to change. So, it made it harder for you to make that rum list. It made it harder for you for the magazine was getting busted over and over and over. It made it harder for anybody in that little circuit during that time going into the early 2000s from the late 90s compared to the early 90s and late 80s, you know. But yeah, man, just asking for a few opinions when it comes to that Jeep Red Boy stuff. Who do y'all think is the true Jeep Red Boy representative? Do you think the Jeep Red Boy cross that was made with the RamRod's Tramp dog and with Tab is one of the best crosses made with a dog since Grand Champion Yellow was bred? Um, how do you rank the Red Boy Jeep crosses with the Red Boy Jocko crosses? If you take, say, your dog off a Tramp, say you got Tramp, he's a Red Boy Jeep. So we go with the Eli dog. How do you think the Red Boy Jeep Eli will be compared to the Red Boy Jocko Eli? How do you think the Red Boy Jeep Bolio would be compared to the Red Boy Jocko Bolio? How do you think the Red Boy Jeep Rascal would be compared to the Red Boy Jocko Rascal? I'ma speak on that. Haven't seen a whole bunch of Red Boy Jocko Rascal dogs to make a lot of comparisons, but I have seen a few, and I didn't like what I seen in the Red Boy Jocko Rascal. And it don't necessarily have to mean it's coming from the Rascal side that I didn't like. Just the fact that it was all up in there, I didn't like them dogs compared to some of the Jeep Red Boy Rascal I seen. you know. But just drop down in the comments, man. I appreciate everybody down in the comments. Um, leave your thoughts on this. You know, what's the best Jeep Red Boy crosses that you've seen or that you know of? You got the Floyd dog out there, but he's more Jeep. He has more Jeep in him. Let me go to the Floyd dog. See if I can pull him up real quick. No, I tell you what. Let me go right here to this dog right here. WCC's Rocky. WCC's Rocky. I guess you'll call this a honey bunch dog. Go to his offspring. Go to Sambo grandmama. Now, this dog right here, give you a quick breakdown like I already gave you before on this Sambo pedigree right here. This ain't Sambo pedigree, this is grandmother. All right. Now they took this dog and they bred this dog to Grand Champion Yellow Sun. When they bred this dog to Grand Champion Yellow Sun, they got Sambo Daddy. Now they took this same dog and bred it to, let me go to Sambo Pedigree real quick, and that'll help me find that one. Okay, yeah, they took that same dog, they bred it the yellow one time, and then they bred it back to Holland's Julio. Now look how Holland's Julio bred. And the thing Holland's Julio got in it that we may not pay attention to is he got that Finley bow. Got that Finley bow in there without having the Jeep dog. Coming down off the Magnum rum dog. So that's why I always think, man, that Red Boy Jeep was a badass cross. You know, it was a badass cross. Um, I think I think the Red Boy Jeep should have been crossed with that Jocko without having the yellow in it. Then you would have really seen, I think some different kind of dogs on the ground out here today's time. Without having the yellow, but just Mr. Chavis dogs bred to a Red Boy Jeep dog. You know, that would have been something special. Now, Bailey's Bingo is one of the most common Red Boy dogs that we have a lot of offspring off of in today's time. You know, um, I don't really know much about Bingo himself. Always knew about him since I had Bo. I always paid attention. I was paying attention to pedigrees by the time I got Bo, reading pedigrees and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? We was, getting in a little more updated times by then. But Bingo, man, one of Red Boy's top producing dogs, so they say. Um, the funny thing is, the funny part about it, Red Boy never made it to the rum list. Out of all the breeding that been did over the years, you know, with Red Boy being one of the most popular pit bull lines right now today, how can Red Boy never have been on the rum list? He had to produce something. And if he own it, why he ain't on the top? Red Boy, in my opinion, the way this dog game is going right now, there's no way Red Boy shouldn't be in the top 5 of the rum dogs. This is the dog I'm speaking about. There's no way this dog shouldn't be in the top 5 of all time rum dogs. We 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 try to carry these traits too damn far for us to say that. You know when Red Boy existed? A hell of a long time ago. So we still got pure Red Boy dogs. We still got this. We still running Red Boy this, Red Boy that. Why haven't we seen Red Boy on that rum list from the 90s I'm talking about? He should have been up there with Jeep and the rest of them. That's why I tell brothers, sometimes a lot of these documents that we read from back in the days, a lot of this stuff was favoritism. A lot of this stuff was first come, first serve. A lot of this stuff was all kind of ways outside of legitimate. Well, I mean, you can't just trust everything you see because you see this man in a book 1,000 times, or because you see this dog in a book 1,000 times. It may just be the editor's best friend, maybe the editor's most favorite dog that he like out of certain people dogs. You know, we don't take none of that stuff into play. And that's why I always say, man, this is modern day times. The brothers who writing these books, these articles, and all this stuff. We control the pens. We got the pens now, and we control the narrative of how this dog game gonna be 30 and 40 years down the line. You know, and it just is what it is, man. Not here to keep y'all too long, like I always say. Just here to talk a little bit about them Red Boy Jeep dogs and get a little insight from my brothers about these Red Boy Jeep dogs. Um, and just drop down, like I say, drop down in the comments or drop down in the chat or what you think on their rankings of the Red Boy Jeep dog. Where should it be ranked when you saying the best crosses ever made? Should Red Boy Jeep be in the top 5 best crosses ever made? Drop your opinion down in the chat or in the comments. You know, all I know is my dealings with the Red Boy Jeep stuff back in the days were I had good dealings with it. It left me with a good taste in my mouth, like I always say. Um, 2025, I'll look at a Red Boy Jeep dog and I add it to my program. You know, but was this the best? Was the Red Boy Jeep cross better than the Red Boy Jocko cross that came from Yellow? Was I can't say Tab was better than Yellow, but what about the RamRod's Tramp dog? Would you think he was a better producer than Yellow? We'll talk about that on the next video. Did Tramp, RamRod's Tramp, produce better than Grand Champion Yellow? Or was he a better all-around dog than Yellow? That's what we're gonna speak about. Y'all stay safe out there. Y'all stay legal out there. And remember where you get it from first, man. PBK9s